Hello everybody.
Yeah, I don't want
Hello everybody, and welcome to Breaking Into the Industries panels. Very excited to have you today, and also our very honored guest today. My name is Ginger. I'm from the International Animation Society from ASIFA, and I'll be moderating this panel. Starting from the left here, we have Michelle Menard, and Michelle has worked in the game industry, and now she's at Oxide Game. She's a game designer, consultant, and she does a variety of things, which will let her kind of give a little introduction after this. And then next up, we have Curtis Hartung. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yes, Curtis also is a veteran in gaming, and he went from NASA to games and worked on one of the best MMOs ever. Ever, yes. And in the middle, our keynote speaker, James Portnow, who might not need introductions. Extra credits, game consultant, does a lot of things. We'll let him talk about that later. And also at the end, we have Paul Murphy. And Paul Murphy is also a veteran. He also now works at Oxide Games, but he also has a lot of different types of experience that we'll also let him talk. So, Paul, could you start from introducing yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name is Paul Murphy. I've been in the game. I'm a game designer. I've been in the game business for 35 years, starting back in the 80s when I worked on paper games for companies that you might have heard of, Victory Games and West End Games, where I worked on Paranoia and Ghostbusters. And later on, I worked on the paper version, the first version of Space Hulk for Games Workshop. And then I jumped into the game business where I worked for Microprose, AOL, Firaxis, Zynga, Double Down Computing, and currently working at Oxide Games. And last is, of course, the best, and I'm having a great time here. I've mostly been a narrative designer, but I've done some other kinds of work. And most of my information on getting into the game business is 30 years old. So I'm sure it'll be very helpful to all of us.
Some things never change.
It's true. Yes.
All right, so I'm James Portnow. Many of you guys probably recognize me better as an animated bean on the internet. As far as things about me, well, between these two fellows, you guys probably have stolen a decade of my life in the games you've made. And I'm a game designer by trade. I am now a consulting designer. I've worked on projects ranging from stuff by Square Enix to Farmville to the Call of Duty series to League of Legends. So my experience is kind of all over the place, but more in AAA than anything else.
Hi, I'm Kurt Hartung. I started, let's see, when I was, 9? Just as a hobby. I did a bunch of indie stuff in the late 90s, and my first big break was EverQuest. Since then, I've done a bunch of other things. I bounced around. I worked at CCP Online. I was worked on Eve. I worked on. Currently, I'm at Tripwire, Killing Floor 2, and those are the big titles that people heard. Like, what do you work on? Well, I can tell you the stuff you've heard of, and I can tell you 15 games you haven't because you're not in the industry. So I've been doing it for about 20, 25 years, and while my information is probably 20, 25 years old, I see it almost every day. So almost every week.
I'm Michelle. I'm the lead designer currently at Oxide Games. Before that, I also worked at Firaxis on Civ 5. I worked at Zynga as well. And for a little while sitting there, I ran my own design consulting business, which I still keep on the side, but obviously don't run it full time anymore. And I'm a co-founder of Fish Wizard Games, which is a board game company. We released our first game last year, Gateway Uprising. Buy my game. Callback. So I've only been in the industry for about 10 years, so my information may be slightly less outdated, but no less helpful.
And I don't know, 10 years is like 30 in this industry.
Yeah. It's like, they're like dog years. They're like, one internet years are like. I managed to forget to tell you what I do. I'm a programmer. Back-end network gaming, full stack-ish.
So I guess the question now is, because this panel is called Breaking to the Industry, and you told us how much the industry has changed over the year. Like Paul, starting with you, maybe like how did you break into the industry, and how much do you think it's changed right now?
Well, again, I broke into the industry before there was an industry. I believe there were Commodore 64s or Amigas at the time I started playing games.
Amiga.
God bless them. But I was working in paper games, and I got the job because I was working as a professional proofreader And my mom, because always you get your jobs through your mom, saw an ad in the New York Times for a games editor in New York City, and she knew how bored I was as a proofreader. So I went into uh, to try for the job, which I found was paying half what I was currently making. So it was a job in downtown Manhattan for $15,000 a year, and it was in an industry that I had no idea you could actually work in and make money on, which was quite shocking. And I was told part of the reason that I got the job was because I was the only candidate who smoked, and it was a smoking office, so they were quite happy to have someone they would not have to stop smoking around.
Did you just tell a group of young people how to get into the industry is smoke?
I didn't say what they should smoke. That's up to you guys. I'm just saying that way back in those years, that's how you did it.
Well, things change now. You should vape.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's not how I hire people today, by the way, is based upon whether they smoke or not. Now it's more or less, like who they know and how cool they are, like everybody else. But that was my original.
He's not kidding.
Yeah, it is. And so that was how I got in. But it has changed quite a bit. Among other things, you can't get a job 15K in Manhattan, thank God.
So anyone else have an industry story of how they broke in?
I can give mine. It's a little bit long. I'll try and keep it short. Basically, after college, I saw the U.S. in a rock and roll band. My bandmates went on to do the Leno Letterman World Tour thing, and I did not. So I needed something else to do. To pay for our rehearsal space, because I was living in Seattle, and everywhere in Seattle at that time there was a collectible card game company. So I was actually building collectible card games to pay for a rehearsal space. I was about to go off to school to be a lawyer, and one of my buddies, we were playing Settlers of Catan one night, and he said to me, "Oh, there's this school, Carnegie Mellon, that has a master's in making video games." So it's like, all right, awesome, I'll apply to them. Of course, it was too late to apply to them. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to send them a box of everything I've done. So I sent them CDs I had made. I sent them the card games I had worked on. I sent them my LSAT scores, which was not the test they wanted you to take. And I made a manual. It was this frantic week of learning Photoshop, doing all these things, making a manual for a game that didn't exist. And I said to myself, if they accept this pile of nonsense, then I'm going there. And they did, so I went. I was there for a year, and at the time, everyone said that you couldn't enter the industry as a designer. Everybody said to me that I should start in QA and work my way towards design. But being a little bit pig-headed like I am, I said, no, I know I want to be a designer. I don't want to be in QA. That's not what I'm passionate about. So I sent out 110 resumes, and I got 12 yeses. And I think the biggest lesson from mine is you only need one to win at life, right? So don't get discouraged by that, because of those 12 yeses, one of them was the Call of Duty series right before Modern Warfare came out. And that really, from there, it was much easier to get a job after that.
Also,
No, go ahead.
oh, okay. I was going to say also, because you were talking about Carnegie Mellon and such as well too, is this a notion that like you have to go to game school to succeed, or is there, like Michelle, you teach at SCAD part-time like as a junk now, and you also have like a bachelor's in music theory, applied mathematics, and a master's in game design. So how does that work?
So kind of like you, I was also not even imagining that games were a thing. It wasn't until my senior year of undergraduate when a professor was like, "Wait, what are you trying to do?" Like, "I'm going to be an opera singer," and she was like, "You doing what now?" So if you want to think even a smaller industry than games, opera. Yeah, there's no jobs there. It's good times.
Can I just say, most of the time I've talked to most people and their parents are like, "Oh, you're going into games, you shouldn't do that." But from rock and roll punk rock band, they were like, yes. Go into games.
Yes. They were like, "Oh, good, you're actually going to use something. Yay!" So senior year of college, then this professor's like, "You can make games for a living. I see you do all this stuff for fun." It was that kind of like stupid mind blowing, like, "Oh shit!" And then I'd like do a complete reverse, try to do as much as I can, and then decided if I was going to have any chance at all of getting in, I would need to probably do something else to build a portfolio, because I had nothing. I had a music portfolio, but no game thing. So I decided to apply to SCAD Online to do their MFA program. From there, build a portfolio and network through that. From a day-to-day, standpoint in the industry, I use my undergraduate degrees literally every single day. Super, super useful. However, to break in, The MFA was useful for that networking bit alone, mostly thanks to my thesis chair, which was comprised of a professor from Brown and then Andrew Greenberg and Brenda Romero, who you know people and they drop your name along and pass your stuff along. It's very helpful. Networking is important. But that being said, I, as a designer, like to see breadth in my design candidates when I review their things. So, like, honestly, any liberal arts college is fine. I like to see history majors. I love to see math majors. I like to see English creative writing majors. I like to see there's a breadth of interest and ability. And then if you have that master's degree, I am ecstatic because then you show like you have all this knowledge and background, and then you can specialize and you do have a portfolio built on that. But that's just me when I do hiring. That's what I like.
I actually love to reinforce that because, I mean, I have went through and got that master's in the Entertainment Technology Center. I've taught at places like DigiPen. But really, to this day, the classics degree that I have, my undergrad degree, I use more often. And I just want to really reinforce that despite having all that other stuff, I really think that breadth, especially for designers, is so important and probably more important than learning the technical skills you'll learn at a college focused just on game design.
Yeah, I like to hear that because that's one of the first things I tell people. And they say, I want to become a game programmer. I say, what do I? They say, what do I do? I say, well, anything else. You know, because everyone can program. I want to see that you like to do chainsaw ice sculpture. Show me that. Show me that you like to do research butterflies, because it shows that you can make good connections, and the best ideas are cross-pollinated. The best, when you talk about working from home, for example, I don't love it for some things where there really should be an office of people talking to each other, because you never know what you're going to find out talking to someone else, and make this crazy idea. And the more things you do, the more hobbies you have. I love to see hobbies on resumes.
Yep.
What do you like to do? What's you? I was going to talk about how I got in.
Yeah, do it.
Which, because it's my turn.
And we have
I feel
and we
like
have
I'm
a
playing
follow
Uno, skip turn.
and we have a follow-up question for you too, Curtis, because you changed your job.
You say me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Follow up
You
already?
changed your. I mean, after you tell us how you broke in the industry,
Sure.
is that you changed your job from being in NASA to games? Like, did that have any difficulties, or did people say anything or things like
Nobody
that?
cared. No, what started out early. I got out of college for a degree in mechanical engineering because I like machines, I like doing stuff. I thought, well, I guess I should get a mechanical engineering degree. But I spent my whole time writing a mud, and that's where most of my friends were. And we decided, hey, let's make a game afterwards. And nah, that's not how you make money. Let's go do a real career first. So I did a thing at NASA where they said, well, we need someone who knows mechanics like you do, but who can also program like you do, because we're building a satellite with cameras and stuff in it, and we need someone to write firmware and who understands how things work. So, and they remember me from college, and I kind of felt like Forrest Gump. I'm like, okay, I'll go do that. So I wasn't like NASA, suit, tie, go to NASA. I worked at a university for NASA at the time, as UAH, University of Alabama, Huntsville. And it was a lot of fun. And I didn't really get indoctrinated there at all, but what I always wanted to do was make a game. So I was always talking to my college friends, said, let's go and do that. And our favorite game at the time was TIE Fighter. And we said, what we want is TIE Fighter multiplayer, because such a thing didn't exist at the time. Now, I'm sure it's probably before most of you were born, but multiplayer was not, people knew it would be a good idea, but no one had good examples of it. And we thought, well, we're going to be the first. And we got together and we built a game called Ace of Angels, and it didn't work. I mean, the game worked, it was great, and it played, and we had alphas, but it never really went anywhere because none of us had much experience. But from that, it was played enough in the industry that I got a job offer from a friend of mine who had become a friend of mine through this game, Jeff Peterson, who was working at EverQuest. And he said, I'm leaving EverQuest, and I know who they need. They need you, because I've seen your work. So I'll recommend you. And that was 2003 or 4, and everything went from there, because although you're being flippant about it, it is true. You kind of are what you've done. It's sort of Hollywood that way. You are what you've shipped. It's the first thing they're going to ask. It's not the only thing they ask, but it does matter. And it made my career.
Just one quick point. I do not have a master's. I did not graduate college. I went into work first as a fry cook, which was the high point of my career, I think. And then I actually got a job as a proofreader, and then went into Victory Games in New York. And I'm not saying that I recommend people don't go to school, because I think you really should. And I think it's a lot, these days particularly, it's a hell of a lot easier to get in if you've got that degree. But it's not 100% necessary. This is not.
That's absolutely true.
This is not that kind of industry. But I will say right now, it certainly helps a lot. I mean, the only thing that helps more is publishing.
Yeah, publishing, having stuff on your
Yes.
resume. When I see a resume that says I've got a master's or it's like that's nice and that's cool. What have you done with it? Show me that. And it's definitely a step in the door. And the networks and connections
Yeah.
you make in college are absolutely worth it. But without backing it up, without showing what you've done, I know some engineers I wouldn't trust and sit the right way on a toilet seat.
Ooh.
But they're few. That's rare, but it happens. Show me what you've done with it. And through the industry, that's what I found most. I'll get another resume with no college experience on it at all. Who's oh, here's the indie game I built, and here's this. What'd you do on that? That okay, great, perfect. I don't care that you don't have college.
So networking seems to be a really big key that everybody's brought up as well too. And of course, like right now, like a convention like Siege, you get an opportunity to meet people that are working in the industry as well. So like also to James and everyone else here. So if they want to use the opportunity to go out and meet and network, do you have any tips for people or any stories of what to do or what not to do?
Well, you're doing it right now. Yes, do this.
How many of you guys are planning to go to GDC?
Wow.
GDC, how many? Should be more. If you want to get into the industry, GDC is one of the best places to go, especially for the AAA industry. Don't worry that it looks really expensive.
And intimidating.
Right. You don't have to buy a badge, right? The badges are like $1,000 the first year you go. Don't come to our talks because you're not there. You've got 20 years once you're in the industry to listen to our talks. There's a hotel called the W where all the developers hang out when they're not doing anything else. Go sit in the lobby of the W without a badge, introduce yourself to everybody, and that'll do you a lot better. You can stay in a hostel. There are plenty of ways to get out there. If you can happen to get up to it, there's something called Train Jam, which is basically a train that heads from the East Coast all the way to GDC, but it's a game jam on a train, and everybody is on that train. And when you're doing a game jam and sort of living with people for 4 days on a train across the country, you get to network pretty well. And so I would definitely recommend, if you're really serious about this, get out to GDC in San Francisco. I know it's tough. I know it seems like a long way, but really it's a small part of the commitment you're going to have to make over the course of this career to really get into this industry.
That's the other thing that I rarely get a chance to say this, and I remember it on the way up, so like, make sure you bring this up. Particularly in your first couple jobs, you're going to have to be willing to move. Doesn't mean you're going to have to, but be prepared to. Don't think, well, this job's in Austin, I don't want to move to Austin. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Because your first and second game jobs are going to make your career. They're going to be the ones everyone calls back to. You have to be willing to pick up and go there. And I did that, and everyone I know who's successful did that.
Just to piggyback on GTC as well too, there's always volunteer opportunities as well as scholarships, because I know GTC also gives scholarships to people who apply as well that have like different criteria as well.
Just to follow up on your moving, when I got my first job in the games industry, I had exactly enough money to either pay for another month of rent in Pittsburgh or to fly out to San Francisco. I did not have both. I don't necessarily recommend this, but I ended up sleeping on the beach in San Francisco for the first 2 weeks until I got my first paycheck and could actually get a place. My job, I was lucky, the place had a shower. I was the last person out, first person in the mornings. No one even knew, but you will have to, you have to be prepared to make that leap. If this is really what you want to do, because as you said, you're going to be making half as much money working twice as hard with the same skills, there's going to be a lot of that. And I wish I could say otherwise. I wish that had changed, but at least not in my experience.
Well, if you think about it, it's just there were only so few jobs to go around, and there were literally hundreds, if not thousands of you. And you're competing with current people already in the industry for those same positions. It's not like it's just you and your classmates at your college, it's everybody. And so you do have to be a little bit cutthroat and be willing to make some sacrifices.
Yeah, and it's actually a smaller industry than it looks. You go to a place like GDC or an E3, it looks like this huge explosion. You look behind the scenes, and you're going to find a very small cast. Having been in the industry as long as I have, I'm sure they'll say the same thing. I keep seeing the same people over and over again. I've met them, I've heard of them, I've worked with them, or people work with them. That you'd be amazed how inbred it can actually become.
It's literally like 2 degrees of separation to anybody.
Yeah.
It's crazy small.
Yeah.
And if
It's
you don't know
ridiculous.
someone, you know someone who does know someone, and you are going to call them and feel like, who is this person? Oh,
Yeah,
they worked
when
with them? All right. Good enough.
When you're going into your next game job, and if you've been doing it for 1, 2, or 3 years, someone you're applying to has known you or heard of you or your work, and they're going to be asked, should we hire this person?
And people are honest because their reputation is
Very
on the
honest.
line.
The other thing I want to do to just counterpoint off what he said in terms of money, and games jobs tend to pay about the same or less as equivalent jobs in what is to me the private sector, but corporate, non-game jobs. But you tend to work with the best people. they're superstars. It's amazing. It's a privilege to work with half the people that I come into every day. It's like, wow, this guy's so smart. It's everything he says, I'm just going to do. And games is filled with that. I tell you, programming firsthand, artists secondhand. I see them where I see a guy come and draw. It's like, holy cow, can everyone do that? And he's like, well, everyone I know. And no, the guy's amazing. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Mhm. And the reason why we keep saying networking is so important, because while we can teach you tool sets and skills and like how to do things, I can't teach you basic personality. Your personality is so important to games because this is so team focused. It's all about teamwork, team dynamics, and building something together. If your personality sucks, if your communication kind of sucks, if you're not fun to be around, I don't want to work with you. Sorry, I don't. And networking is one of those chances that we get to see you, meet you outside of the job industry, and then we'll remember, hey, that guy was actually really fun to talk to. He was easygoing. I could work with that guy. Great. Does he have all the skills I need? Nah, but he seems smart. It'll be fine. So that's really why it is so important. So important.
I may have had more jobs in this industry than anyone else here, maybe all of you here. But I mean, like 10 or more. And except for the first one, which I got through my mom, every other one I was hired by someone I knew, someone I had previously worked with, someone I had played live action role playing games with. I have never, since then I have never successfully gotten hired by strangers, which maybe says something about my resume, but apparently my winning personality and charm and wit have gotten
Cigarettes.
me. Yeah, well, I
Not
gave up on
anymore.
the cigarettes, that's kind of sad. But since then, it's all been through interactions, through networking. And that's the way a lot of it is. I mean, mostly we hire people we know.
We've worked together at 3 different companies.
It's true.
Hey,
It's true.
pal.
It's scary.
Bringing up networking and like being personable and communication, anything that you've encountered that you would say to do or not do for people who are coming up to you and say, hey, I want a job?
Don't lie. Don't lie about your skills.
Don't lie on your
Dear
resume.
God, most lies, about what you know or what you know how to do, they just show up in the first 10 minutes of the actual interview, and that means you're gone. No one, just don't do it. You don't have to have a lot of skills at the beginning because you're at the beginning. Don't pretend you can do crap that you can't, because that really gets you kicked out fast.
Yeah, 'cause that's the other thing in games. It's very meritocracy. Every programming job I've ever gotten, at least at some point, and this only gets more difficult. They say, here's your whiteboard, here's your dry erase marker. Show us a BSD tree. Just do it. And they'll just start grilling you about it. And if you're not prepared to do that, and it's not because they're being mean or they're trying to grill you or trick you, you're going to be doing that every day. You have to be able to. So don't say you can if you can't.
Yep.
And as a designer, when those sort of questions come up, I care more about your thought process even than your success at that particular task. Because what I want to know is, can you communicate? Are you adaptable? And how you're thinking through problems. As far as what not to do,
If you don't know, just say I don't know.
Yes.
Please. We respect that. We'll work with you.
yeah, that's absolutely true. Especially if something implies that you know where to get it, or at least you're willing to put in the effort to eventually know.
And don't insult the person interviewing you. I mean, I know that sounds
Oh, there's a
stupid.
story here. I want to hear it.
Yes, there is. This happened at Zynga. So I was interviewing a candidate, and he was clearly nervous, and I'm sure it was just like word barf
Yeah,
through
we know you're
nerves.
nervous too. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Actually, I think, Paul, you were in this interview as well. And, we're asking about social games, mobile games in general, knowledge of what went into them. He clearly had not put a lot of thought into this and was not well aware of how these games were made. And we'd asked him just some kind of softball question, like, okay, well, who is the target audience for, say, something like Farmville? And he's like, 18-year-old single mothers. And I was like, that's oddly specific. It's like, well, you know? You're one, right? I was like, oh! And I was like, what?
Rough. Oh, man.
Not true either, but it's like, what? You can see the kid was like, I have made a mistake. And it's like, you have. You have indeed.
I have one that I can't share. Oh, good. But we should talk after
Yes,
this.
so don't do that. If you're nervous, if you don't know, just say, I don't know.
Just say I don't know,
It's
because
fine.
our bullshit detectors are so good.
One more
Ping,
thing.
ping, ping, they all know.
In the
Everyone
s-
knows you're bullshit.
In the same damn area, if you're coming to apply for a job at my company, play my goddamn games. 'Cause
Right?
You know
yes.
what
Oh my God.
Dear God, play the damn games.
At least read the summary.
Yeah, do something. Look at a YouTube video, something. If you don't know what my game is, why do you want to work here? You know, and why would I want to hire
We
you?
know why. It's because this is the 5th interview you had today, and you don't care.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, come on, don't insult the people, and also don't be an idiot.
Well, so along those lines, don't vomit on my shoes. That happened. A student came up to me at a party at GDC, clearly had a little bit too much at the free bar, and immediately began with, "I'm from Full Sail," and all over my shoes. Memorable moment. But to follow up a little bit on what you were saying, I think there are two other important things. One, none of us, I don't think, maybe you guys have, I've never shipped a game that is as good as I know it could be, right? Someday you have to ship a game. I've seen lots of students start an interview or unless I ask you what you think was wrong with the game, I've seen a lot of students try and tell people what was wrong with the game, not knowing all the things that went into production, not knowing that it was heroic to get a game out the door. I worked on a game where the lead designer broke his back and half the design meetings were in the hospital room. And I had students coming up and saying things that were way out of budget, right, for what we could possibly do, or didn't understand the realities. So just make sure before you start critiquing a game that you've been asked for that feedback. And then the other thing is...
And you will be asked for that feedback,
right,
commonly, but wait for that.
Yeah, wait for that moment until we say, okay, so what do you think could be better on this? And then second, absolutely play the game, but I don't care. I want you as a designer, I need to know that you've played more than just one game. When we were doing Call of Duty, you have no idea how many people came in and say, I played 4,000 hours of Call of Duty. Cool. But if we're going to converse, right, I need to be able to say to you, okay, it's Missile Command meets Tetris, right? And you need to be able to understand what that might mean. So have a breadth of games as a designer as well. Don't just focus on one game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have a couple of questions within us, but I know also that everybody is here probably with questions that they want to ask. So we're going to open the floor up to ask questions, and if you don't have any, then we'll fill. See, we've got questions already. One of the things that I would like to reiterate with what they said about things to do and not to do, I was like, if you could maybe introduce yourself with your name and just like 2 lines of what you do, and ask the question. And maybe like one of the things that I would recommend not to do is to just talk about yourself for a very long time, because everybody also has questions that they would like
Good
to ask. Good
example
well.
of what not to do.
So.
Hi, I'm Brandon Moss, big fan. I am graduating this summer, so hello, hire me. I had a question about the shipping the game. So this is kind of a specific example, so it might not apply to everybody, but it might apply to some people. When an employer sees a resume, I'm guessing they're going to see that somebody shipped an app and look that app up or the game up, look for that proof. So what if your company was it shut down before you were able to ship it, but you created all of it and you have all of these assets and you can pull it up on your phone and show the person in the actual interview? Should you still, like, on your resume have that you completed the game?
Oh, hell yes.
Absolutely.
Anything.
That's what canceled means.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I did all this.
Yes.
Canceled. We get
Right.
it.
And then in your cover letter, totally say, like, if it's something you can only share privately, say that.
Yes.
And if you can include any of it on your personal website, absolutely do, especially if there's a little video you have talking about your experience and what you did on it.
Yeah, 100% yes. I'm trying to think of a resume I saw that didn't have that.
Yeah, right? Who doesn't have one?
Yeah. Project blah, 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 canceled. Blah, 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 canceled.
I don't know.
That doesn't really count against you. We know. We're in the industry.
Hello, I'm Richard. I'm a programmer and a student at KSU. And I was wondering, because I've been trying to do the thing where you send out, as many resumes as you can. And obviously, most of them, you don't even hear anything back. So I was kind of curious, is there anything that in the process, I'm not sure who is actually looking at the resumes. So is there anything where they're looking at them and they just say, okay, thrown out, keep, thrown out, keep? Like, what are sort of the keys to resume that make it?
This gentleman here has been looking at hundreds of resumes over and over again. Maybe he can give us...
They are pre-filtered.
They are.
Yeah.
Filter number 1 is
Yeah.
typos and grammar.
Good God, yes.
So
For God's sake.
Jeez.
as a designer, how people lay out the space on their resume
Yes.
is actually something I
Yes,
look at.
and I will totally throw it out if I found a typo or grammar mistake.
Absolutely. I think we actually should
You'd be amazed.
dig into you.
Yeah. Hi.
But
Andrew.
do you have anything you want to say on this topic?
I can say, I'm Andrew Baker.
boss.
Need a microphone on it.
Be
Oh
nice to
God,
him.
you are so in trouble on the way out of here. I hope you survive making it out that door.
So I know some things we get. If we ask for portfolio, don't give me your LinkedIn page.
Good
That is
God.
not a portfolio.
No.
And
And if it is, you're doing it wrong.
you see a lot of weird things. Some people get really creative in the graphics on the resume, and you can't really read it and follow and figure out what they've done. We had a position we posted. We had 400 resumes come.
I read through all of them.
So-
I'm very angry.
So the amount of time we can go looking through a resume, we're going to spend about 60 seconds looking at a resume. Something's got to pop out at us that says, okay, look at it. If it says, hey, I'm a bartender, and that's all I've ever done, I'm not really looking at you for a game designer because you don't have anything about games on
If
it.
any of those bartender positions had a portfolio, I would have looked at every single one of them. None of them did.
Also be aware that you're competing with a lot of recruiters who blast shotgun resumes out, even if one keyword hits, they just send, because they're playing the percentages.
Actually, I have a question for you, Andrew. One page, is that important, or? Yeah, I try to keep everything to one page, but now I'm old, and so the type is getting really small.
Well, it's double-sided and microfiche.
All right.
I think one page is less important now because I'm not looking at a printed resume. One thing that I see, if you take the time to write a cover letter saying why you want to work for me and our company and have looked at our company and know an idea of who we are, you put some effort in, you're going to get a little bit more time for us reading through your resume and seeing, do we want to call you?
Yeah, when I see I want to work as a programmer, so does everybody next. Tell me why you want to work for me.
And on that, also tell me what you can do for our company, because I see a lot of me-focused resumes about why it would be great for me if you hired me. I'd rather see what you can do for us. I have a question actually for you. With everybody else in this room, there's a lot of people looking for things. What separates you? What sets you apart?
What separates me specifically?
Yeah. What is the one thing that should be top of your resume that's going to stop me and go, okay, this one gets passed on?
Well, what it is right now, I would say, is that I'm an Eagle Scout, and that's something that I find is pretty unique. And I know immediately whenever I tell someone that I'm an Eagle Scout and they're also an Eagle Scout, it's like an instant point of connection. So I'm not sure how relevant it is to this
You
industry.
definitely want it
but
on your resume, but that's not the lead.
Okay,
So,
all right.
And I think that's a good thing, right? Like that's positive, says you can communicate, possibly has leadership stuff. When I was teaching at DigiPen, I actually told my students, get into IGF and you just get an A in my class. I don't care about anything else. Win an award, right? I had students, I told them, get 50 to 100,000 downloads on your games, right? If you can put that on your resume, and you can, right? You think that, oh, I'm just in school right now. No, this is the beginning of your career. Think of school as the beginning of your career. Intern at major companies, that helps. Show me that people have actually, not only have you gotten games shipped, but that people have played it. That helps a great deal. Show me that you're doing something that other people in the industry are interested in. So win an award. There are lots of award ceremonies. And any of those sort of things will help separate you out from the literally thousands of other students who are applying every day.
Last year, there was someone here who came up to me afterwards, this same talk, and said, I'm trying to get in, I've written this little game, but it's not very good. I was like, no, you don't understand. This is amazing. You wrote the game. You did that last 10%. You published it. You got it out there. Maybe a few people maybe it didn't, but this puts you so far above other people. She had no idea how far above everyone else I would consider her for having done that. It's a huge deal.
Yeah, because that's the big main thing. When you guys all start to apply, I literally see you and all your classmates in that pile of 400. Literally like, oh, there's the same group project again. I saw the other teammates there. You need to have stuff in your portfolio outside of your goddamn classwork. I mean, all your student projects, I'm sorry they'd start to look the same year after year, but it's that little extra work you do outside of class, that's what shines. That's what shows you have ambition and drive and you actually want this job.
And I think one of the things too is like global game jams. Like join those. Those are a really great way to meet people, win awards and stuff. And the other key too was also that one of the things that they brought up is there are panelists up here, but there are professionals sitting amongst you. And that's one of the key things that like a lot of people after the panel they jump right on the panelists. But look around you. These are the people who are probably sitting there next to you. You have a better chance to know them. And there's like a recruiter right there, and who's probably going to get mobbed after this. So.
Come to our table on Sunday.
Hi, Ian O'Donnell, and my question is going to be a little different than everyone else's, I think. I'm a voice actor, And I'm interested to find out the best way to connect with folks like yourselves and to work with you to build those characters and help them come to life in the various games.
I can only speak for our studio. We generally go through agencies.
Yeah.
We don't have in-house voice actors.
Are you in
We
one of
just
the
don't.
unions? We
But
only,
we
yeah.
very commonly canvas. We say we need something for this. We go to sources, and you have to talk to them on how to get into that. 'Cause that's the process I see.
There are a handful of people in this industry who hold the title voice director. I know ArenaNet has one. I know there's a group of larger studios that have them. You can probably search LinkedIn for those people, hunt them down at conventions, and introduce yourself. And as far as the whether you're part of one of the unions, it's really interesting. Half the studios only hire union people, and half of them only hire non-union people. So.
So also on that note, Bob Carter, the voice actor, is also here today. He has a studio. Maybe. Okay, that's perfect then.
Hi, I'm Karen. Everyone's always said that social networking is such a big deal and that it's very important, and I understand that. But say at a situation like this where you can literally meet your role model, how do you befriend your role model? Like, being in game design, like, it's kind of comes with the territory that everyone's a little eccentric and that's cool and whatever, but how do you cross the general eccentricity that comes with getting into game design and befriending your role model?
Stalking is usually the best method. Also, you can buy them alcohol. And that's all I have.
But sometimes being a little too creepy comes off a little
It does.
too creepy,
I'm being
you know?
facetious. Dear God, I'm being facetious.
Because that's actually happened to me.
Oh, it has, sure.
Like, I mean, I followed my role model around. I'm like, okay, like, how am I going to come up and say something to him? Like, no, that's kind of weird. They get into a conversation. I'm just kind of in the background for like 10 hours.
Sure.
And it's just kind of like, you know.
Well,
They probably know
They
you're
notice
there.
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Assuming that it's one of us who is your role model, as it should be, after these kind of things is actually a good place to come up and say howdy. And also, if we're sitting at one of those little booths in there talking to people, you can certainly come and talk to us there. And I mean, most of us, we're weird, but we're kind of friendly. So if we're out there, you know, just come up and say hello.
Yeah, we're here on purpose.
Hi. And
Hi.
if we're really busy, you can go away and try again some other point.
All right, then that's where I stand behind you for an hour.
Exactly. Thank you.
I like your hair.
So I think another place also really good is Twitter. And one of the things that my friend does as well in conventions and everything is they actually make fan arts of that person's stuff, and then they'll be, hey, I'm a big fan. I drew this of you or for you, and the next time, you know, like they kind of do it again. I think it's the secondary, third time, fourth time meeting. First time they might not remember you as much, or it's not cozy buddy buddy. But then if you keep continuing, that's usually like the pattern.
And just a general aside attachment to that, please don't start by then telling me your great game idea.
Oh, yes.
I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry.
And you don't necessarily have to become friends with us to get a job.
Yeah,
from
that's
us.
true. It's very true. Yeah.
Like, then you definitely don't know us.
How you guys doing? My name is Andrew. I'm a student over at Athens Tech, and something Paul can relate to. I'm currently working in the restaurant business. So, aside from like the portfolios and all that, what are the mental qualities you are looking for in a candidate?
What position?
I'm currently in restaurant management.
No, I mean, what position are you looking for in the game business?
Basically, as a beginner, like Q&A or storyboard editing.
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
Something just jumps to mind for me, and that's the ability to take criticism and not take it personally. That you're working with people who really know what they're doing, and when they tell you something's wrong, believe them, because it's easy to say, no, I'm doing it right. No, you're not. Be able to be quiet, listen, grow from that, and not get angry or take it personal. That's just my reaction.
I think that's a good one. I think if you want to get into QA, there are some particular abilities that are necessary, which are like an ability to focus and to play a game over and over and over again until you want to cry.
And play it clinically.
And play it clinically, yeah. And you know, the best QA guys have a focus ability, which is just terrifying. And also an ability to work, 48 hours straight towards the end of the product.
And attention to detail and ability to record your information clearly, concisely, and completely. Because I am so tired of seeing QA things where like, this was broke. Thanks. But
Also,
but then, detailed 20 step, this is what was wrong, here's a screenshot, like, errors, annotations, I love you.
And there's another side to that. I'm going to be in a talk at 7 o'clock. You probably know about it. It's Q&A and interacting. And one of them is, and what's rarely mentioned is the other side, which is we know there's a bug. Find it. We've got 10 crash reports. We think it's about here, and it probably has to do with the mage equipping a mace. Go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
Break it
Please.
specifically.
That is your job.
Yeah.
Break game.
Another good thing not to do when you start is to tell us your better idea for something that we're doing. At a certain point, once you've been around long enough, you can do that. And in fact, QA guys give a hell of a lot of good uncredited game design stuff. But first off, just tell us what's broken and what's working. And after you've earned your cred, been around for a few years, shipped some titles, then you are absolutely, please God, tell us what's wrong with the product or what you could do better.
The only thing I would add is I actually do want you to know what position you want. I want someone who's passionate about being a designer or passionate about being in QA. I don't want somebody who's just passionate about being in the games industry. And so when you say to me, I either want to be a storyboard editor or in QA, no, I want somebody who wants to do exactly one of those things. So sort of take a look at all the roles out there and figure out which one you're best fitted to, so that way you can come up to me and say, yeah, this is what I want to do, and if you hire me, I'm going to be dedicated and passionate to doing this.
And I would be okay with someone saying, I want to be a storyboard designer, but I know that I'm suited for QA right now and I want to work that way.
And
That's
while a lot of companies do, sorry, I jumped on you. I'm sorry.
No. It's hard to jump on me. I'm really loud and big.
And while a lot of companies do roll people from QA to other positions, that is not to say that all companies do. Like, that is absolutely a myth to say that all game companies start you in QA and then you have to move on. Please don't think that's absolutely true. I did not start in QA. If I had to start in QA, I would have never gotten a job because I would be a terrible QA person.
Did anyone at this table start in QA?
No. Nope. But if you wanted to be in QA, that's great. That is absolutely great.
Good QA people who want to be in QA save this industry.
Yes.
Absolutely necessary.
Right.
Hello, my name's Dorian Holloway. I'm a student at Athens Technical College in the Emerging Tech program. Thank you for this awesome panel. It's already been very
we're
insightful.
killing it, aren't we? This is really good.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. I was wondering, for interviews, preparing for an interview, are there any specific questions that you guys like to ask people coming in? Maybe a gotcha question.
I've
do or
never,
die question.
ever asked anyone what your biggest weekness is.
No.
You won't get that in
I don't know how to answer that.
The big question is, what have you done? Mm-hmm. What have you done, and what did you do on it? I was on a team, great, what did you do specifically?
I will ask, what is your greatest strength and what do you bring to the team? Like, how are you going to improve our team dynamics? And the answer is not, I'm the idea guy. You can take that one for free.
Right. One of the things that I've noticed, there's sort of several questions that always get asked, depending upon the discipline. If you're a designer, at some point someone will say, well, what's the best design game out there and why? And they'll also ask, what's the worst design game out there and why? And these are just things you should have in your pocket as answers, because those are the kind of questions that we all ask when it gets late in the interview and we run out of other things to say, and they're actually pretty probative. They do tell you quite a bit. So be prepared, and at some point we'll ask you, what game do you want to design? And you should always have an answer for that. And it should be shockingly close to whatever it is you think they're hiring you for, if you're smart. But we'll take honesty too, if we have to.
And the other thing we'll usually ask if you're doing well is, do you have any questions for us? And you'd be surprised by how many people then do this. No?
Get a lot of blank stares.
Do you really want to work here? Because no tells me you don't actually want to work here. That doesn't show me that you're excited about our company, actually have thought about this through. So always have questions to ask them as well, because this is a two-way street. It's not just us hiring you, it's also you coming to us and wanting to work here too.
And the only thing I would add is, if you've gotten far enough to get to the interview, that means I have actually checked out your portfolio, maybe not spent a ton of time on it, but I'm going to ask you why, as a designer, why you made the decisions you made in whatever games or stuff you built. Have a reason, right? Think through why you did the game design, because if I don't need somebody who's just doing it from the gut, right? I need somebody who understands what they're doing.
Thank you so much.
So I think we have time for just a couple more questions, so it's going to be that and that here.
If we don't get to you, I don't know about them, but I'm planning to be here for the next couple hours.
Yeah, and I'm happy anytime through this. Right after this, I have to do a sound check for the keynote, but if you see me in the halls or whatever, say hi, ask your question.
And you don't need to stand behind me for 10 hours, just come up and say It doesn't sound like it has.
It hasn't been 10 hours yet.
Burn.
You still got some standing behind to do.
I'm repeating what she said.
Hello, my name's Hagar. I'm a UX design student at SCAD. I was wondering, when it comes to resume building, do you guys recommend we try to only maintain a gaming development, like just stay in the gaming business, or would you recommend that with our resumes we kind of try to?
If you have to justify some time that you spent elsewhere, of course do it. I mean, it's sort of like if you have a 5-year gap, it's either you've done something else or you've been in prison. So give us a clue as to which one.
It's more the skills and the position.
Yeah.
If you say why you were doing it, I can understand why you weren't doing it in the games industry.
But I mean, I've rewritten my resume, a dozen times when applying for jobs, just to rewrite it to focus more on whoever it is I'm trying to get the job from. But you don't, try to keep it up to date.
Well, and if you're doing UI UX and you've done some killer UI in anything that's interactive, right? Because that's a very human field. I can't accept when you explain to me why a street sign you made saved thousands of lives. I'm gonna listen, right? So.
Yep, the UI UX position we just hired, he came from a credit card processing company.
Yeah, UI is UI in a lot of ways, so it's hard to go wrong.
Hi, I don't know why I need this right here, but I'm Joy. I work at a company that's currently transitioning into adding games into our creative process, so I guess I'm director of gamification. I don't know. But if you have not come from a game development, master's, bachelor's, whatnot, are there other recommendations for networking aside from here and GDC where you can start making those connections if you haven't had that traditional background?
So there's actually a silly number of Facebook groups and that sort of thing for designers. A lot of them are open, and believe it or not, a bunch of us just sort of hang out in a lot of them. As you just pointed out, game jams are great. There's a lot of these conferences.
IGDA.
Join the IGDA. Yeah, definitely, and go to their chapter meetings.
But listen before you contribute, because it's lurked by a lot of people, and if you jump right in and you don't know what you're talking about, it's pretty obvious. So just see where the conversation is doing, and then kind of.
Also, if you're like looking to hire people, you can usually find people who will talk to you. I mean, just put that out there. We're looking to build a gamification. You'll get a lot of people who want to be your friend. Many in this room.
Hi guys, my name is Sarah Pachetti. I'm the lead concept artist at Codex Games, but Codex is my own company, and I would really love to work for somebody who will pay me. So my question is for the designers and for the artists and those of you who look at artist portfolios. Because we are competing against the pack, because the newer artists are competing against the seasoned professionals, and there's not really a way without time going by for us to have the skill level required to, in our portfolio, be better than them. My question is, what are the things that stand out to you in a portfolio? What are the things that can catch your attention? And are there other positions we ought to be aiming at rather than the coveted concept artist position and things like that can get us in so that we can learn from those people and so that we can become better as a part of the company?
So I'm gonna fill time with words while everyone else thinks.
I can't. All I can think of is tech artists.
Well, and environment art's actually really hard to come by. Like literally, the dude who makes the rocks and trees.
Yes.
No one wants to make the rocks and trees. We need people to make rocks. So like one of my buddies was the dude who made all, and I mean all, the rocks on ESO. One man made all the rocks. Thank you, Michael Rodriguez. No one else wanted to make the rocks.
Sorry,
He doesn't work on rocks anymore. I think he burned out on it finally after 5 years. But still, yeah, so they're the jobs that just no one wants to do because they're not sexy. No one wants to make the crates. No one wants to make the pots.
For concept art, as a designer, and I've been called in on a couple of these, one of the things I'm looking for is I get lots of portfolios of people who can really do beautiful things, but if you can't show me that you can do concept art of what the characters are going to look like in games, so from the correct angles, right? You can do a actual layout of what the screen might look like, things that are actually going to be useful in game. That's sort of what I'm looking for. And if you can also do things that explain that you understand oh, hey, this is a multiplayer game. These characters need some space on their character outfit that's going to be highly visible that can change color because each team's going to have a different color. Like, if you can show that you understand concept for games rather than just beautiful pictures.
And be able
that
to,
helps.
and be able to do multiple versions of them. I think I'm a programmer, but I work with artists a lot, and one of the things I see on successful artists is they don't just do one; they'll do like 5.
Yeah.
And they're willing to say, not this, fine, X, no, okay, this, and just no ego there. Just what version do you like?
And I like my desk is next to our art directors, and so he will complain nicely because he's Canadian, but complain nonetheless about some of these things that he sees. Think about your concept art, how it's going to get used by modelers and animators down the road, because there's a lot of beautiful concept art that looks great on paper, and then there turns out when the modeler tries to get to it, it's this horrific Escher-shaped thing that can never exist in reality. It's like, how the hell is this supposed to be modeled? And the same thing goes with animation. You can draw these beautiful, awesome, pauldrons and stuff, but then think about the character doing this. He's poking himself in the face with his shoulder guards. So think about how these things are actually going to be used by the artist down the road. Annotate your drawings. Just don't do a beautiful mood painting. Actually put those kind of notes in. I made this decision because of these reasons. The art director will be so happy, and so you're thinking about that. So yeah, just scribble all that stuff. Show your notes. Show your process.
One more thing I would say is the importance of being, I mean, you got to be artsy because you're artists, but if you're going to have an online portfolio, make sure that people can find it and find the stuff that's in it. Make sure it's fairly well organized and annotated so that if I see a cool picture, I can tell someone else how to find that cool picture in your portfolio. If it's part of a big montage, you have to sit through 10 minutes to get to that cool picture. Yeah, no one has that time. So just, think of it in those terms. It's a thing to be used. It's not just something that displays coolness.
So as you can see, our panelists are awesome today, but you also might realize I actually left 10 minutes because we're actually going to put something into practice. So one of the things that they brought up was that, what can you tell me that will actually interest me in one line? We're actually going to pass the mic down the room. You can choose to omit if you don't want to do this. Say your name and just one line of something that you think stands out. And let's see if we can actually do this in 10
Do
minutes.
we hold up like 9?
Yes.
I'll do that. I'll hold it up. Okay, go. Yes, can you stand up?
Rapid fire.
My name is Tyler. And
That's a good thing. You stand out.
yeah. I honestly don't know what to say right now.
You're the first person to go. That's fine.
First person to go, I guess. Sorry.
Thanks.
First.
My name's Tanner Stanley, and the thing that points me out is that I love coding.
My name is Zoe Nessel, and I'd like to be a concept artist, and I'm still growing a lot in that section.
Cool.
My name is Matthew, and I believe in design that really tells stories and informs player decisions.
Everybody copy Matthew.
I'm Michael. I do Unity development, and I love gameplay programming, but I would say I put a lot of time into making nice editors for any team members I have that makes it easier for them and easier for myself down the line.
I make nice tools.
Yes.
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 We need tools, people.
Tools
Always.
programmer. No
Thank
one
you.
wants to do it. Everyone needs it. Do it. Do it.
Programmers don't make games. We make tools. These guys make games.
Hi, I'm Storm, like the weather, and I spend a ridiculous amount of my free time cosplaying.
Yeah. There you go. Very creative.
I'm Donovan, and I actually love doing the environment art, the rocks and the trees and all that.
Hey, how you doing? I'm D. You can Google me up on Kluju, Kloju. I'm trying to be the next Kojima producer, designer, the greatest of them all. But
Cool.
Hi, my name is Sonia. I'm an interactive developer at Ninja Multimedia, and I also go to KSU, woo woo, owls. I really like debugging software, and I really like helping other people debug their software so that we can learn together. Okay, that's why we got an error.
Fantastic.
Like debugging, yeah.
Hi, I'm Klein. I'm also an interactive developer at Ninja Multimedia, and I love to learn new things.
I'm Ethan. I'm a 3D artist and programmer, and I'm also the rocks and trees guy. Give it up.
Holy crap.
Hey guys, it's Sarah Pachetti again. I am a concept artist. I've studied computer animation, so I know what the modelers and the riggers need from me on pre-pro.
Hi, I'm Austin. I'm a programmer and a student, and I would say the thing that makes me different is when it comes to design, I know that the most important thing is perceivable consequence.
Hey guys, I'm Ben. I am a CS student at UGA, and I would say that one of the things I do a little different is I'm actually a real estate agent on the side, and it's kind of it's kind of difficult to imagine how the two professions can mesh, but I'm telling you, sometimes it does.
I completely believe you. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm Brandon. I already told you that. I am about to ship. If all goes well, I might ship my second product this Friday or
Nice.
next Friday.
Congratulations.
And I like to sing.
Buy his game.
Hi, I'm Andrew. My interesting thing about me is I'm the one person at Oxide that doesn't know how to make games.
It's true. We still love you.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I'm also an engineer from UAH, so there's that. And I'm also with Team Rocks, so.
Hi again, I'm Joy. I'm an engineer. I come from a biology background. I have a master's in it, so I understand systems, which means I understand why that one line of code broke the entire system.
A line? I'll tell you a symbol.
I'm Karen Williams. I'm a programmer as well as doing design and other development in games. I have an extensive knowledge of mythology and fairy tales, and I love incorporating that into anything that I make and do. Also, I'll stalk people.
My name is Miranda Rice. I enjoy doing art and character design, and I'm currently working on writing a webcomic that I want to publish one day.
My name is Julian Pompey, and I'm a programmer or learning program at GSU, and I like to write everything down to make it easier on whoever I'm working with.
Hello, my name is Hugh. I love playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I make a lot of custom card and program it for a group of people. And I hate how Konami is destroying the game.
I can't follow that up. Hi, I'm Trevor. I'm a concept artist. I like bringing multicultural fashion and architecture to my characters and designs.
Hi, my name's Craig. I'm a producer, and I actually enjoy herding cats.
Hi, my name is Ben. I'm a lead technical artist, and I like alcohol, so.
Hey, my name is Abraham Abdallah. I'm a lead character rigger at High Risk Studios, and I love soccer.
There's another wannabe friend.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I took a break from the industry and I started a family.
Cool.
Congrats.
Hello, Richard again, still a programmer, and I write easy to read and efficient code.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Davidson, and I just graduated from the Art Institute. And I've been doing cameras for about 2 years, and I do mostly 3D environments. I'm a rock and tree guy. And I would say one thing to take away, I think the most important thing in any game is story.
Hi, my name is Taylor Bowser. I'm an aspiring web developer that's living in Birmingham right now. And this morning I woke up at 6:30 to teach Intro to Computer Science to a class of high schoolers.
Hello, I'm Kylie Gildy, and I'd say the thing that sets me apart is I'm really good at learning new systems quickly.
Hello, I'm Jetta Kovis, and I'm a student at KSU. I've published a mobile game.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm a student at KSU as well. I love level design, and I'm also a technical communicator.
Hi, my name is Dustin Colvin. I'm also a student at KSU, go figure. And I'd say the thing that sets me apart is that no matter what I'm doing, I try and find a way to make it into a game, to make it interesting, which can turn even the most monotonous task like cleaning after I'm done cooking into something that's at least semi-fun and bearable until I have to do it again the next night.
My name is Kyler Schroeder, also a student at KSU, programmer. I love learning new skills. My current interest is particle effects. So.
My name is Luke Chambers. I'm a software engineer, and I love trash.
My name is Jackie. I currently run his trash business, and I like to play D&D. Yay!
My name's Arturo. I'm with these two. I'm a web developer and I like to break things.
My name's Emily. I'm a KSU student and I take criticism really well.
Hello, my name's Simon. I'm an architect by day, level designer by night.
Hello, I'm Philip Brunson. I animated and directed a film shown around the world, a short film.
Hello, my name is Ronnie Morales. I'm a student at KSU, and I spend a lot of my free time making original concept art for characters.
My name is Justin Van, and I'm ready for my board game's first formal playtest tomorrow.
I'm Michael Cardillo. I have 20 years of sound mixing for linear media, but since I don't have a lot of game engine and middleware experience, I'm the guy who asks the questions that makes things better for the future.
Great.
Hi, I'm John, and my thing is having empathy for my team members and extended constituency.
Hi, my name is Edward, Digital Media Master Science at Georgia Tech, and I made a VR game that got me invited to Facebook headquarters to demo. All expense paid.
Hi, I'm Timon Wood. I'm an environment artist, and I love wearing suits in 80-degree weather.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm an audio programmer, which I've heard is kind of rare.
It's true.
Tate Henshaw. I explain cash flow management and things like taxes to NBA athletes and Grammy-winning musicians. So I'm here to listen, as you guys noted, to learn how I can provide that same value to this industry.
Hey, my name is Stephen Perry. I'm a front-end team lead at a marketing automation company, and I love creating procedural assets.
Renaud Marshall, front-end developer, really passionate about user interfaces and information architecture.
My name is Jeffrey Yu. I am a professional concept artist, worked at a board game company, and will be going to a VR company here in Marietta. I love long walks in the woods, so all the things I see, like rocks and trees, they go right into my concept art.
Really resonating with the rocks and trees, I guess.
Hey, I'm David Temple, student at Athens Tech, looking to be a programmer, and just pay attention to all small details, make sure everything's just absolutely perfect. Bugs me if it's not.
Hello, my name is Amari Hawkins. Feel free to call me Mari. I'm also another KSU student. I enjoy learning anything from geology to a foreign language to see if it could fit anywhere in the game to make it better.
I'm Justin Lesh, and I came with Columbus State University, and I presented my game yesterday morning to a bunch of high school students.
Hi, I'm James Ellerby. I'm also from Columbus State University. I'm interested in research and higher education, and I'm researching data structures.
I'm also from Columbus State. I'm Blanton Whitworth, and I feel like my best thing about me is I'm good in pressure situations, like short timelines, stuff like that.
Hi, I'm Sharon Jeffries. I'm an educator here at DeKalb County. I just found out about this last week. We're on fall break, but I'm here to get the information for my babies because a lot of them want to do game design. And I thank you for having this, and I will be getting your cards because I want you to come to school. Also, I have a dual degree master's, business and instructional technology. I've gone to SCAD, so I teach web design. I know graphic design. I know animation. I also know the business side. So I can go across the gamut for any business, but I love gaming.
All right, thank you. Hi, I'm Brett. Oh, that's a loud mic. I'm the proud father of two artists. One of them goes to SCAD, and so guess I'm the support staff.
Hi, I'm Pierce Rudman. I'm a sequential art major at SCAD, and I think the best characters definitely have story written literally on their faces.
Hi, I'm Jeff Backer. I'm a full-time web developer, and in my spare time, I'm working on my own game.
Hi, I'm James Riley, and I'm a game designer, and I try to accurately assess the strengths and weaknesses of my team so that I can set semi-realistic goals for the games.
All right, my turn. I'm Yoon Lee, upstart student, and I'm a designer who does its best to try and use every aspect of a game inside it to try and tell the story using everything from the UI to the music design and the sound effects to try and tell a cohesive narrative. My first ever demo is currently in the room next door, so feel free to check it out.
Hello again. I'm Andrew Linden. I'm a student at Athens Technical College. I'm currently a restaurant manager, as I already told you. And one thing I like to do in my free time is play guitar, listen to music, and eat a ridiculous amount of food. You laugh. My mom doesn't.
I'm Jason Allgood, ex-military student in Athens Tech, studied electrical engineering, and I love breaking games for fun.
Hey, thanks.
I'm Olivia Melanowski. I go to Athens Tech, and I love implementing historically accurate information in games.
My name's Dorian Holloway. I also go to Athens Tech. I'm an aspiring roboticist who just likes games and game design.
Hi there, my name is Scott Williams. I graduated from SPSU, now KSU, and for the last 1,401 days, I've gotten at least one STEAM achievement every single day. Today's total is now at 3,007.
Hi, I'm Ariel Zamron. I am a concept artist and illustrator. I have experience being an art director for a small indie studio, so I love paying attention to all the creative process for all the people involved, and I like to look at the whole picture whenever I approach my concept art. So.
I'm Matthew. I'm a high school student, and I really like interactive camera movement and cinematography in games, and I'm very inspired in that respect by directors like Stanley Kubrick.
Hi, I'm Ben. Last year I made a VR bed sorting game, and now I'm working on turning it into a board game.
Hello, my name is David. I'm a student at KSU. I'm obsessive with how I look into new information, try to experience new things. Try to read a book at least once every week.
Hi, my name is Casey. I'm a programmer at KSU. I spent 8 years in the Army doing IT work, and the thing that I would think might separate me from other people is that I was part of a team who won an award in San Francisco at the same time as GDC, but not at GDC, the International Conference of Game Jams and Hackathons, where our game won the Best in Show award there.
So thank you very much, everybody, from that side of the room. And now we're going to wrap it up. And thank you to the panelists as well, too. Oh, one more person. Two more. Okay, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's do that. My fault.
Ian O'Donnell, as I said earlier, I'm a voice actor. I have a wide range of accents and characters, and if you have a need for that, let me know. If you have something you're not quite sure about, I'll work with you and collaborate to build the character and bring him to life.
I'm Zach Smith. I run audio here, but I probably have more hobbies than you, and I'm working on a game for blind people.
Oh, nice.
I'm Paul Bartlett. I am a programmer, and I guess what probably makes me different is that if you need something, I'll do my damnedest to get it to you. If you want a tool, I'll do my damnedest to get it. And if I can't get it to you, I'll point you to someone who can.
Hello, my name's Jordan, and I'm a programmer and a pilot. I know that sounds like an odd skill set, but I thought I wanted to work at Gulfstream. You too? Awesome, cool. Things that I like. I don't know. I like making games in Unity and game jams.
I'm Hagar. I'm the UX design student at SCAD. My family is 9 different nationalities, so I'm kind of trying to work on games that take out the Eurocentric feel of fantasy.
Hi, I'm Jake Sheely. I'm in the process of founding a co-working space that meets the needs of digital media professionals by day and a gaming arena by night. And I'd love to talk to you all afterwards about breaking into the game industry for sponsorships.
Are we done? Not skipping anyone? Okay. Yeah, well, thank you everybody so much for coming today. And it's really nice to hear from this side of the room as well. Now you have talking points. When you get outside of the rooms, you can go and say, hi, I'm that person who eats a lot. I'm that person who likes was a pilot and things like that. Those are really great talking points to bring up. And thank you again, the panelists. You guys are really wonderful today. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.